Now, it's hard to really capture it here, but the Gar-Quilt is pretty giant. I think it's 90 inches long and maybe 50 something wide or something. I don't know. Suffice it to say, it's very large. And it's got your basic drawstring channel ends, bungee cord in them and cord locks to adjust it. Here again is the prusik on the main suspension for it. And alright, now check it out. This is the suspension on the Gar-Quilt, and basically he's got a beaner coming off of a tab sewn into it there with some bungee stuck in the beaner. Coming around, I slip it over my knot, come down the other side, and this rather ingenious adjustment system is just a simple prusik beanered to the rest of it there, with the cord going, with the bungee going through the prusik. So you just slide it in and out of the prusik. I mean, it couldn't be more brilliant or more simple at the same time. And it has a center tie-out point, and it also has these little shoestring tabs, which will I think you can tie them over the ridge line or something and certainly when it's being I think you use those when it's being like a top quilt and you want to make the foot box or something. So also, let me show you what I do on this center tie-out tab. Now for the center tie-out, when I actually get into it like I'm going to go to sleep, and I just go over the ridge line through the other buckle, or the other tab I should say, and into the beaner. Now, I'm not sure a beaner this big is necessary, but it's what I have. And the beaner's just prussiked on, and once you get into it, you can adjust how high up the suspension is with this. This regulates that. And then just before you get out, you clip it and off you go, and then when you get back in, you know right exactly where it was again. So that's what I was using to hold up the middle to stop the CBS. Now when I got my Gar-Quilt, I got it primarily to supplement my Insultex quilt. For me, an Insultex quilt takes me down to about 50. And this is a 3-layer Scott Littlefield design quilt. And when I added the Gar-Quilt to it, so far we've taken it down to 38, and been really happy with it. And mine, I know, isn't as well adjusted as it could be. Plus, with the Gar-Quilt, you've got the added benefit of you'll be able to fold it in half. I'll probably show you that later when I get inside. But you'd be able to fold it in half and double up the insulation underneath your core. So, you know, I might be able to get all the way down to 30 with this rig. It remains to be seen. My wife reports certainly being toasty warm down at 38, and but I adjust hers a lot better than I adjust my own, because she can get in it and I snug up the gaps. Regardless, I've also had the Gar-Quilt down to just 50 degrees, just by itself, single layer. It was cold, windy, rainy, all the above, and I had this. It was down to maybe 48 or something, I can't remember. But we'll call it a 50-degree quilt for me, personally, and I'm a cold sleeper. So I said, well, maybe I'll get this thing in the house. I'll go over some of the other features of it, that sort of thing, as I discover them myself. Gar-Quilt, so far, big thumbs up. Really well made, as you might imagine, from Randy, and certainly doesn't disappoint. Well, I had to come inside because it's really windy out, and all you would hear is wind in the microphone. So I'll finish the rest of this sort of review inside here in my basement. So it's a little dark in here. But anyway, this is the Gar-Quilt all packaged up. It comes in a really nice stuff sack that is appropriately sized. Rather than trying to shoehorn it into a bag half this size, it comes in a bag that you can easily fit it into. And I'll probably make some straps to compress it, keep it compressed, or just buy another compression sack for it or something. But you know, it'll squeeze down quite a bit smaller. I think it's about a 20-inch by 9 or 10-inch bag overall. And I just got it off my digital scale, just like this, with all the suspension, and in the bag and everything it was 39 ounces. So, but you got to remember, it's huge. It's, if I were to hold it up above my head like this, I think it still touches the ground. So I mean, it's 90 some inches long, or maybe just 90 inches long. It's big. So I will show you the folded in half version of it installed on this guy, and we'll see. I actually tried it out outside the other day, and got so busy playing with it I never got any on film. So we'll show you that next. Alright, so what we've done here is obviously folded it in half lengthwise. This is now the center tab, and I've extended the suspension to its fullest length here, and the short additional piece of bungee that comes with it that I have going over the ridgeline when it's in full length mode, now that goes from tab to tab on the inside here, and adds a little snugging when you get inside of that guy. And then up at the other end, same deal. I just lengthened the extension, or the what do you call that, suspension a little bit, clipped the tabs that were at that end into the bainers that are on this end, so they keeps it all together nice. I did let out the what do you call that, the sort of drawstring end on one layer, where I left the second layer, the outer layer, still bunched up. I'll have to play with that, see whether that makes sense or not. But one layer bunched up to make the seal seems to be good enough at the moment. So that's it in the folded in half mode. I guess let me crawl inside and we'll see what that looks like. So I would say that's pretty damn good. What do we got here? That goes down to my knees, and it's right at my head. So that is also not bad. What I've done recently is I've subscribed to Mr. Scum's version of suspension that comes from the underquilt here. Actually, mine will be dually adjustable, because I'll still adjust it here at this prusik that allows the overall length of that to change. Plus, I'll come up and I have a prusik here that acts as a pulley, and another prusik that's adjustable, so I could slide that down and take up slack. That has changed even since I started this video. So yeah, it's been great. It's really a brilliant setup. Equally as brilliant as having the prusik on the bungee to be the adjustment on that as well. So now you can also employ this thing as just a top quilt. It's got these little ties on it, little strings sewn on the one end, where you can just tie those together and then cinch up the draw cord in one end to make like a foot box. And oh, let's see, make this thing work. It's giant. So yeah, plenty of room. You could even, I suppose, shrug these up a little bit if you wanted to get it to wrap around your shoulders and tuck in a little. For me, there's just gobs of room in this thing. And yeah, that would definitely make a nice summer quilt for... Got one last thing to show you here, and that is my mini gear hammock, which actually it's made by GargoyleGear, and it's actually meant to be a footrest. Comes with its own suspension, uses a prusik on it to adjust it for length, and in fact the way I currently have it hooked up, I could just extend that well out and use it as a footrest. But I just have it go up and go directly to my elephant trunks. By design, it's supposed to go over the knot on your hammock, but I'm doing fine. I like just being, because I easy on, easy off with my elephant trunk there. And so when you're in your hammock, you can fairly easily adjust this. I threw a barrel knot on there from what Chicken Wing was showing us. So that's been nice, just to keep the slack out of the way. I just put that little barrel knot on there. And that's it. You know, this hammock is big enough for all your stuff. Stuff like that. Just got that in the mail today. Pretty stoked about it. So here's the gear hammock. And here's my brand new, the ultimate hang. Just got that in the mail today. So pretty cool. Actually it's amazing the information in this book and how up to date it is. I mean, there's things that seem to have just been invented are already in the book. So how cool is that? So the ultimate hang, recommend it. And also the footrest, which is a fine gear hammock. Put all kinds of whatever you want in that thing, and that's just handy. I like it. I like it a lot. So thanks again, Randy. You rock. Great gear as always.